Hello everybody and welcome to this Let's Play of HOB. How do I describe it? HOB is what you get if you took Zelda and just added a few more elements to it. And made it pretty. It's by the same people that made the Torchlight games, Torchlight 1 and 2, and although I've not played either of them very much, I can see the style of Torchlight 2 in particular in this game, for the bit that I played. I made a save file, I got about 2 hours into the game, and I was like, this is too good to pass up. Like, I absolutely adore it so far. So, here we are. We're going to be doing a quick Let's Play of it at the very least. Hopefully not as long as the last, as the Hollow Knight one. But, you know, we'll get something out of this, one hopes. I'm going to be playing this on my desktop. So if you're wondering why my microphone sounds maybe a bit weird, it's because I have to use my older, somewhat broken microphone in order to actually play this, or Let's Play this properly. Anyway, here goes. So, we're waking up in this room. We seem to have been locked in here. And obviously it's been some time since this has happened, considering all the overgrowth and everything. And we're rescued by a big robot guy there, who looks like what would happen if you took Bastion and gave him steroids and removed his gun. All things considered, it's an interesting start. And we're this little hooded dude, who looks particularly cute. But there's nothing else in here that we can find anyway, that I can see. So, the fixed camera angles are going to be a thing that we're going to have to get used to. But, all things considered, game is pretty as heck is the first thing that you notice when you start this thing up. The cell shading and everything is absolutely gorgeous. I'm, by the way, not following our friend dude there. Can't open that, it seems. That's fine. We will get to the point where I can open that, don't you worry. Anyway, game is extremely pretty. And it's a good thing that this computer can actually run the game, because my other computer, the laptop, cannot. And I have been looking at this game for a little while, been keeping it on the radar, as it were, for, I think about a half a year or so. So not super long. But if I'm going to be perfectly 100% honest, I'd kind of forgotten about it until about a week ago when I saw an announcement for it being released pretty soon. So at this point the robot tells us this is important and he points at it. This is where we respawn if we die now, so that's pretty sweet. And look at him! Isn't he just big and beefy and strong? Just putting everything in its place. Why he's helping us? Why he's guiding us? I have got no idea. I'm just happy he's such a nice dude. Anywho, as a result of me only really figuring out about this game like a little while ago, I was like, oh hey, I have not seen anything about it really, let's get to playing it. And so I had some extra GOG Steam, like some GOG wallet money effectively, and used that to buy this. Okay, he's got a sweet ass sword, and he can punch his way through walls. That's awesome. Teaching you that there are, in fact, little secrets that you need to figure out while you're here. Which is sweet. I have no idea what that sound was. Thanks. Open the doors for me. Come on! Alfred, you need to be fast at this. So one thing that you're going to notice is that although our character is really well animated, like the little things flop around him and his, I guess his hat, his hood has some really neat physics as well. And when we run down these stairs, you'll notice that he takes these big steps, kind of like if you're running down the stairs 2 at a time. It's really, really cool. And it's like legitimately worth, you know, saying to anybody who's looking at this game, hey, this part's well animated. But you'll notice that our big robot friend here tends to be pretty simply animated by comparison, because we aren't going to see him too much throughout the game. Not that he dies or anything, don't worry. As far as I've gotten anyway, he hasn't had to sacrifice himself for the greater good. But he does take a bit of a back seat to us, because we are going to be the main attraction behind this particular show, so I wouldn't be worried about it. Hey look, I beat you here, and I had to run all the way around that thing. You're slow, buddy. So now he's just going to sit here and just kind of like look out at the thing. I like how he looks at you. Okay, we can't do anything with that yet. And I know we can't do anything with this yet either. So we're going to just go around. Hey, look at the friendly animal. Hey there, friendly animal man. Aw, you're so ugly. It's as if, you know what? I don't have an analogy. You're kind of ugly looking, but it's charming, you know. And this cell-shaded kind of look with outlines and everything to all the different sections of the world and all the different characters is really, really cool. Now, with that said, what's not so cool is that purple thing seems to have injected my arm with an infection that's growing incredibly fast. And Robot is kind of forced to cut off our arm. So, if you've been looking at the promo art for HOB, you figure out pretty quickly, at least, why the promo art has you missing. Or at least doesn't have you with a gigantic arm. Like, why did you not start off with a gigantic arm? Well, it's because the gigantic arm kind of comes on as a prosthetic. Which is a neat change of pace, all things considered. Not something that's unheard of. But it's kind of cool that, like, really early on, the world is, like, taught to you that, like, there's dangerous stuff out there and you have to be careful. With that said, we do get Robot's big super arm here. So Runic Games being the ones behind this, again, obviously the art style is definitely theirs. I have no idea who HOB is. I have no idea why the title is so explicitly like, Foop, there it is, cut straight to the title, and then it fades out. It's weird. But like there's lots of little tiny things to be nitpicky about in this game so far. But these animations on the main character are not them. Super well done. Like, the arm is fluid, and I like how the little bits clink and clunk together, and his eyes shift around in his hat, and how his body is able to actually sustain keeping that thing on him is another matter almost entirely. So, we now have our big arm. And because it's so heavy, it kind of flows behind us a little bit. It's pretty neat. Now that closes. Yeah, we are not allowed back in. That's fine. Alright, now that we've got our arm, we can actually do some stuff. For one, let's move this block here so we can actually get a slightly quicker shortcut. And that's another thing about this game, is that there are a decent number of shortcuts in the game. It's pretty sweet. You get to actually, as far as you keep exploring, as long as you continue going forward without dying, you will find means of getting to a place, like, of linking things together a little bit more quickly. So that way, if you make a mistake and die or something like that, you tend to have a faster time getting places. Unfortunately, Curses, HOB has crashed. You know what? Submit the crash report. That's fine. I don't mind. Let's try booting that back up again, shall we? Pretty please, thank you for a report. No, my pleasure granting it, except for not really, because I'd rather play the video game. Let's try that again. Start it up. There we go. Now, hopefully you guys are seeing everything. Yep, now you are. Okay, good stuff. Let's try continuing from where we left off, shall we? No. I want to go back outside of this place. This is not the place I want to be. That's the first time the game has crashed for me, actually. And it probably has something to do with OBS and HOB talking with each other, and it's a little bit weird. Okay, let's try this again. So as I said before, you can kind of make shortcuts like this throughout the game. It's not just now, but like at any point during the game, it's... That was a weird glitch. You saw that, right? Like, our Bastion friend was here for a minute, and then he wasn't. Because of these little shortcut making moments, you can actually... Like, the world does feel interconnected, despite the fact that it is, I'd say, a little bit more linear than I think it lets on at first. Like, the feel is one of, okay, continuously pushing forward and do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. There's never a moment... Stop. He says, arm, yes, okay, good. He can control the arm, so Bastion Man's happy about that. That's great. Let's talk to this guy here. And by talk to this guy, I mean take that piece of metal. And then whoever that is just fades away into dust. But because of the linearity of it, to a certain extent, it feels like I'm worried that the game is gonna end a bit before I'm ready. Before I'm ready for it to end. But we'll see what happens. So what he just picked up was a piece of metal, and then our Bastion lookalike friend here has another 2 pieces of metal, and with 3 pieces of metal plus, well, later on once you've actually got it, plus your previous sword, you can actually forge stronger swords. So we're gonna get, you know, baby's first sword here by dropping off the 3 pieces of metal, because we just don't have a sword right now, so we don't have to put in our old one at all. And the swords look like they shouldn't cut a thing. Like, it looks like it just walked out of Phantasy Star Online. But it fits a theme. You know, it does look really sweet, and I like the fact that it's like this retractable kind of like spring sword, which is neat. It is very cool. Alright, and yeah, once you've used one sword, you have to move on to the next mold. You don't get anything. Now, also, as you look around through the world and you complete battles and all that stuff, you get this green resource that allows you to actually upgrade yourself. And this is what kind of makes me feel like the game is a bit closer to Darksiders than it is to a normal Zelda game. See, in Zelda games, you kind of just pick up items. At least until recently, Breath of the Wild has a currency system where you get to buy your upgrades. But in Darksiders, which felt like a Zelda God of War hybrid, you know, you get this situation where you have to like spend resources, souls in the case of Darksiders, to get upgrades. And HOB feels a lot like that more than anything else. It's a somewhat, I wouldn't say simplified, but definitely less edgelord version of Darksiders is the best way of putting it. And they obviously wanted to focus a lot on the scenery and on the world. That was weird. The people who are running games obviously wanted to focus on the scenery and the world quite a bit, because you have these moments where you get to just sit down and look at the scenery, which is not something that happens in every game you ever play. But then on top of that, you know, they obviously put a lot of work into that kind of storytelling. There are no words. The guy points and does a bunch of robo noises that have no intelligible meaning. So, obviously, you're supposed to get pieces of story from the, you know, from just, like, looking around. Now, with that said, there are also, like, a couple of different places where once you get a sword upgrade that's high enough, you can actually unlock certain doors that allow you to see parts of the story, but it's all symbolic and very cryptic, and if you're into that kind of storytelling, this game's for you. But at the same time, it's worth mentioning that that kind of storytelling doesn't do it for everyone. Like, some people just want a story told to them, and that's that. With that said, also, the game is not necessarily great for new players because they don't tell you the controls so much. There are controller prompts, but they don't tell you the controls unless if you go into the help menu and then it just tells you the controls, which is like, that's fine, I suppose, but you know, it's not ideal, obviously. Yeah, let's open the door. There we go. That's right. Now, try to remember, was there anything off to the right here that I've forgotten since last time? Yeah, there's this thing. I have no idea what this thing is. It seems to be a butterfly. And we collect them, and I don't know why. I actually didn't get far enough in my other playthrough to figure out why it is you collect them. Right, now I remember. That part we don't get to until much later. That's fine. Let's go in here. As you go through the game, though, it's not all about like choosing upgrades and spending resources to get them. You do also have these moments where you have to like get specific items or specific upgrades by exploring the world around you and going through like mini dungeons like this one. Now, for those of you that are worried about the platforming, for instance, oh my god, 3D platforming, didn't we do this with Yooka-Laylee? Wasn't this, like, done already? Isn't this game, like, completely, like, trite at this point? Who would do this in this day and age? Modern day things like this don't exist. Don't worry about it. I would tell you right now not to worry about anything to do with that, because this game feels to me like the platforming is not the main focus, and as a result, Runic really simplified it a great deal. You do feel like it's right. We can't do that quite yet. Give me a second. Runic. It does feel like Runic made sure that the game itself would be easy to pick up and easy to jump around with. Like the jumping is pretty much like auto-aimed for you. You don't really have to do a lot of work for the jumping. Just like the general direction will do. The game as a whole actually feels really relaxed that way. It's not a tough game in that sense. And it's mostly puzzle solving and environmental navigation more than like combat and platforming puzzles, like platforming prowess. So as a result, it's a game where you're allowed to, and in fact encouraged to, take your time, at least on a first playthrough, which I'm looking forward to doing. There we go. So if you're wondering what we just managed to pick up, for those of you who were paying attention earlier, that looks an awful lot like the fist that the Bastion guy used to do a Falcon Punch earlier. We can now do the Falcon Punch as well. And the Falcon Punch opens up quite a bit of the game for us. Wow, that went pretty far into the dirt considering how big and, you know how big the block was and how, like, not dense the dirt is. Anyway. So yeah, the platforming itself is not too difficult. And even if you're sprinting around like what I'm doing right now, you don't tend to slip off all that much. And we're just going to punch our way through that one as well, if no one minds my saying so. We could just leave, but I'm not going to do that. You also notice that the punching takes up a decent amount of mana. Like that blue bar, and that can be upgraded as well. But there are several abilities that require that mana to work, so in combat in particular, it's going to take some efforts to figure out what exactly you should be doing and why and all that stuff. You also need to keep a weather eye out for secret passages and like broken walls and such, just so that way you can kind of keep up, if that makes any sense. You want to be able to find all the secrets in an area, you have to keep your eyes peeled, which is great. Like that's exactly what the game's going for, and that's exactly what I'm looking for in a game right now. So as a result, HOB is going to be a good friend to me for the next little while. With that said, I think we've got everything that we're going to need out of here. We've punched our way through the whole thing, as far as I know. And Robo Buddy. Hey, Robo Buddy, what's up? Okay, yeah, I understood that. So, he's pointing towards the ground. Then the block. It no worky. To make block worky, you need to go that way. That seems fine. I don't mind. So, like I said, I've already kind of done all of this part. So as a result, I know roughly what he's doing with all. What do you just fist bumping me? That's fine. I kind of know roughly what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be turning on something to make these blocks turn on. We're going to be like activating a machine to turn those blocks on, which is, not as sexy as it sounds. We also have this fast travel system here, but nothing that it's attached to, so we're just going to ignore it for now. And we're going to go exploring through this area a little bit before we end the episode. This, I think, is just a bunch of resources? Yeah, it is. Okay. That's worth 10. What we want to do is get to a point where we have enough resources that we can especially pick up the dodge roll. Like the improved dodge roll, because currently our dodge roll's alright, it's fine, it does the trick. But it could be better. Oh, fine, I'll wait for the mana. I honestly wish that the walls didn't require mana to break, but, like, I understand, I suppose. Alright, so heading up here. I forget what's up here. What I remember is that this purple goo stuff sometimes sprouts claws, and those claws are just bad news. Okay, up here is another chest. Fantastic. And all of this kind of goes onto your map as well. If you miss something by only a little bit and you look at your map, you'll tend to you'll find out what you're missing very, very quickly, which is great. It's super helpful for people that are like, I want to complete this game. you didn't get the chance to hit me. Haha. Alright. Unfortunately, my punch didn't quite go as far as I'd like it to, so... Alright, here you. Ow! Okay, back off. Get some HP off of the grass. Okay, we're still within, like, kill range, because he does 2 hearts of damage. There we go. Okay. And then just go up and smack him until he dies. Perfect. There's not a lot of, like, intricacy to combat for the first little bit of this game, which is fine by me, if I'm being honest. Because when combat's too hard, it can be like not fun. Nice punch, good punch, right in the stomach, and then I cut his stomach open. So it was bruised and then abused. You know what? That comes across as awful. Like, as far as wordplay goes, the sounds work together, but I would never say that a second time. Anyway, Ogre Man's dead. So are the 2 other people. That's fine. They're not very nice. Actually, there are some creatures in this world that are kind and interesting, but not all of them by any stretch of the imagination. So, it's worth keeping that in mind. That said, have I missed anything yet? There's something there that I can't seem to get my hands on. But we'll get to that later. Maybe. I was missing that in my first playthrough as well. See this little guy? This little guy's cute. He doesn't want to attack you. He's fine. And I felt really bad the first couple of times I, like, panicked and attacked him immediately, so... Right. I don't remember what you do. Hey there, buddy. Like, there's gotta be something else here. Nothing there. It's fine. I understand. Can't cut that apart either. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I heard you. I heard you too. That's right, you keep on honking. Now, some of these guys, like this goblin here, are not so bad. And are relatively easy to get rid of. Come at me, bro. Oh, what's that? You exploded. This guy, on the other hand, this big stick-wielding guy, kills me in 1 hit. So you need to be like, ah! Very careful. He's got a nice big combo, which is nice, but you need to dodge immediately out of the way of him pretty fast. And if you can manage to just, like, be smart about your punch, you can get in a decent amount of damage with the punches as well, which is nice. Ah, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Like, do not screw with that club. He one-shots anybody. He's one-shot man. Not, like, it's a little different from, you know, me who has to punch him, like, 4 times in order to kill him, but, like, I'm not one-punch man yet, but, like, I think I can get to that point. I'm not sure. Either way, why am I here? So there's a passageway here. Punching the tree did nothing. Okay. It's like it knows that there's something here. But I don't know how to get there is the problem. Oh, hey, there we go. There's a secret passage. And a broken floor. Now this I did not find on the last playthrough I made. So that's pretty sweet. So what do I find here? Is it more green stuff? Yep, more green stuff. Okay, great. That I am fine with. We actually have enough now to get, I think, the improved dodge roll, which is pretty sweet. Let's get out of here. It's down this way. Oh, I see. Okay. So that area, that little area that ledge that we were just on is inaccessible unless if we go through the secret passageway. That's fine. Now, where are we currently? If I head up north, we should be able to get to the next area. And you know what? We could probably do that and then call it an episode at that point, really. There's not a lot left to do in this area that we can do right now. The area here tends to open up as you go through the game. Oh, hello. If you don't mind handing me that piece of metal right away, that'd be pretty sweet. Thank you. It's 1 out of 3. What was I saying? Right, the game tends to open itself up when you go back to earlier areas, which means that earlier areas are always interesting to re-explore, which is nice. I'm just curious as to how long that's going to last and how often we're going to be able to pull off that particular trick before it starts getting, like, old. Like, oh, look at me, I'm going back here again. Oh, look at all these guys. They think they got a chance in hell. They do not. Come at me. Oh, I missed. That's actually unfortunate. So the good news is you can lock onto targets. If you're not sure about how to go about doing stuff. If you want to, like, focus on just one dude, you can do that. And that's great. But the game, like any other Zelda-like, I guess, if that makes any sense, like any other action RPG, will tend to get you to focus on, you know, learning how to deal with big groups of people before it teaches you how to deal with, anything else. Okay, so that's actually a neat little piece of teaching you how to do stuff. Because he was trying to open up the thing here with his spear, and that teaches you that you can do the same thing, which is awesome. Because remember that first one we found, and how we couldn't open it? Now we can. And unlike most adventure games, pieces of heart like that tend to only come in groups of 2, which is pretty sweet. What is this, by the way? Because I don't remember any of this. This is all new to me. So you know what? Kudos to a game where, you know, kudos is due. Sprite Cloak. Boosts speed, but reduces health and energy. Huh. There is a lot of stuff in this game. Okay, good stuff. I like to say the word stuff, apparently. Alright, there we go. Open that section up. Now, with that said, I'd like to... Oh, dear. That's the telephone. Well, what does telephone have to say? I'm actually legitimately curious. Hello. Oh boy. Well, if all your representatives are busy and you're putting me on hold to do stuff, then I don't see why I should even bother paying attention. Okay, that's pretty cool. But wait, hold on. Where was the earlier, like, plant bulb? Because that would be pretty sweet. I would like to see this earlier plant bulb. Oh, this is where we started off. This is our room. Pretty small accommodation, if I'm being honest with you. So how did we find... Right, we had to go up this way. To the left. Up the stairs. It wasn't up here. It was down this way. There we go! And there's an extra heart. Well, HP. Sweet! Okay. Finding stuff all over the place in this particular playthrough of the game. I'm like, obviously, anybody that's played this game before would be like, oh, well, I totally get all this. I've seen all this before. And, like, you know, once you know where everything is, it's a piece of cake. But I'm actually really impressed with the amount of stuff in a small area. That's not easy to pull off, I find. There is no way to do that now. So we're going to back off. Do what now, you might be asking? Well, if you hadn't noticed, you'll see all these, like, little copper strings all over the place. Like, just copper things everywhere. Those are wires. We need to power those up in order to do anything fun, apparently. So, let's go back to the foundry for a minute. This is not where we want to be. And that all seems like bad. That definitely seems like bad news over there. See those big claw things? Those will straight up stab and instant kill you. They are not fun. They are murderous. And not kind. So don't go near those. In the next area, there are a couple of them in areas that are a little difficult to get around. And so as a result, like, you spend like 2 seconds too long in a place. and very suddenly you end up very dead. And then you need to kind of work your way back to where you were for a second or two. Usually the save spots so far haven't been annoying, which is great. But it is worth mentioning at this point that like dying is a thing that is largely going to happen when you're playing HOB and you don't know what you're doing yet. Alright, so let's go ahead and spend some of those green things. Let's see, we can... Sprite Cloak costs 8 of those and 100 green things. Yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, we got 42. We could get a shield. Shield has not been, like, the most helpful thing for me so far in my playthrough. I'd rather get the improved rolling dodge. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. And although it doesn't look any flashy or anything, it is a farther dodge, which allows us to do more stuff. It allows us to stay safer, which is pretty sweet. Okay, now that we've got everything upgraded that I can think of, let's just go. We got the next area to get to for next time. And I have a feeling the next area, being as big as it is going to require at least 2 episodes to do stuff. For those of you who are wondering whether or not you can attack the giraffe people that we just passed by, yes. Yes is the short answer. Does it do anything? Absolutely not. Their shins are like, you know, rocks. You just kind of don't do anything. Okay. So we've managed to walk our way through all that. And here we are. Welcome to the desert of the real. Like I said, HOB is a game that really is trying to show off. And this is on medium graphics, and it still looks very pretty. Like, I've got to say, this looks gorgeous to me. So anyway, hopefully that phone call wasn't so loud and obnoxious that it puts you off. But I'd like to do a full series on this, because the game looks great. So I'm going to. So expect some more of this in the near future. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. If you did, be sure to let me know. Hit the like button down below, and I'll see you guys next time.